I'll tell you when we're live. I think we're about like 5 seconds away.
Yeah, usually it's
Can
got
you
a little delay.
Are we live?
Cool.
Not yet. Not yet. Oh no, my word. Me and this thing to see if we're live. Can you see if we're live? There we are. We are live.
Yeah, we definitely are.
There we are.
Hopefully someone will pop up and say hello soon.
Hi, Antonette. Hi, Aynsley.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Do you know what, Retha? This is our 10th show tonight. Can you believe it?
I can't. No, time flies. Hey, it's unbelievable.
10
It
weeks
is
already,
unbelievable.
every Wednesday.
It
And
is.
we've had a few
celebrate.
challenges.
I think we've got a very great guest tonight to celebrate our 10th show. That is actually quite
Yeah,
very
no. I'm so super excited to have Aynsley with us. I mean, I've known you for a while now, and we've worked together on a couple of projects, and it's always been fun. But I think for people, because you're always behind the scenes, you know, people don't see you. So yeah, I think for all our Pawsome people, Aynsley Metcalf, she is the project manager for pet insurance at Telesure Holdings in Johannesburg. And you've been there for about 5 years as a team member, and you're now leading the team, and you've been actively involved in developing the product there. Your passion for animals, I know I've worked with you a few times, and I've sent you messages. It's like, oh, can you help this person? And you guys have always been so great to follow up and to really go out of your way to assist, you know, when there's been a struggle or a little flutter. So your passion and your empathy for people and for animals makes you the perfect person to tell us about pet insurance. So I'm going to hand over to you tonight. And, you know, maybe you can just tell us a little bit about yourself and introduce your gorgeous Magnus as well, if he's willing.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for the intro, Antonette. Like you said, I work for Telesure. I'm here tonight specifically to talk about first form and pet insurance. I've been in the pet insurance industry for about 10 years, but like you said, always behind the scenes. So it's nice to have this platform to actually speak about my passion and maybe share some unknown facts or debunk some myths about pet insurance. With me here, I've got my fur baby Magnus, who may or may not play an active role in this video. We'll see. Here he's up.
There you go.
No, there we go. So I've also done a BCom in insurance itself. So I'm also quite knowledgeable around just insurance in general and how pet and insurance work together and create this product that is so necessary these days.
Absolutely. And maybe, you know, Retha just mentioned this before, there's always a bit of confusion about what pet insurance is. So maybe just distinguish for us pet insurance, medical aid, and maybe also talk about self-insure.
Sure. So unfortunately in South Africa, there isn't such a thing as a pet medical aid in the way that we understand medical aid for people. So the pet insurance products are medical insurance products. So it's a little bit more like your car insurance in that we're helping to pay towards unforeseen incidents, unforeseen high vet bills. We're not going to cover something that is a pre-existing or chronic condition. We're there in the same way that you can't crash your car and then take out car insurance. You can't wait until you've had a diagnosis and then take out pet insurance to cover that specific illness or injury. So that's where medical aid and pet insurance differ. I do hope that at some point in the future, we will be able to offer like a fully comprehensive medical aid type of product. But again, we would have to factor in the costs. I mean, look what you pay for your Discovery Health or similar. Would people be willing to pay a few £1,000 a month for pet insurance to give the same level of cover? And then in terms of self-insurance, I would always suggest to have a little bit of a savings for just in case when it comes to your pet. Obviously, you can put away a couple of R100 or whatever you can afford per month and use that in the case of a claim. What differs with pet insurance is, let's say you're paying R300 a month. In a year, you would save 3,600. But pet insurance for a similar premium per month, you would have 10 times that amount of cover should you need it for a high hospital bill at the vet. So insurance is really helping you out by sort of compounding your money a lot more than if you would just be saving it yourself in a bank account.
I've got a question about pre-existing conditions, specifically pre-existing conditions. So let's, and I'm going to use my personal experience. I had a dog that tore a cruciate ligament and it was repaired, and we didn't have pet insurance at that stage. So fast forward, we get pet insurance, and the other leg, cruciate ligament, will that be seen as a pre-existing condition or not? I mean,
so in our world, the way that I kind of coach our salespeople to address these type of queries on the sales call is to ask the client whether the pet is still receiving treatment for whatever ailment they've had in the past or might currently have. So if you had a previous injury, cruciate, broken leg, whatever, and it's fully healed, your pet is no longer receiving treatment, it wouldn't be pre-existing. If the pet is still receiving treatment, obviously that particular injury wouldn't be covered. And if your pet is still receiving treatment on an ongoing basis, so for a chronic condition, that would then not be covered either. So a pre-existing chronic illness wouldn't be covered. A pre-existing injury that is still undergoing treatment wouldn't be covered. However, any new illnesses or injuries not diagnosed or not known at the time of joining would be covered.
Okay, so now with coming back to cruciate ligament, I mean, it's almost a given that if you've got, if you've the one leg, then the other leg will go at some stage as well, soon after or within a short period from each other, specifically in certain breeds. So now I've got a cruciate ligament operation. It's busy healing. I get a little bit of physio for it. The physio stops and we put 2 years down the line and the other leg go. Will that be covered?
So if it's, so are we talking about your first one was covered under pet insurance and we're talking now 2 years later under the same or prior to signing up?
So the first leg was done and she didn't have pet insurance. So that was fixed. We now get 6 months down the line, get pet insurance. Physio stops because she's totally healed and we carry on. And 2 years later, the other leg goes. Okay.
No. So yeah, because the first one is totally healed at the time of you signing up, it wouldn't be considered pre-existing.
Okay, cool. So I'm asking that because we had the situation and most of the insurance companies actually then said, no, they won't cover any leg after one is gone. So that's just, it is something that goes out there. I know there's some that doesn't. And that part of pre-existing, a lot of people do not understand it. They do not understand the correlation and the risk because, I mean,
yes. So on our policies, we do limit cruciate surgeries to 1 per policy year because like you say, we do understand that it is common for one to rupture and then the other one rupture because of the increased stress then on the good leg. So if you were covered and you had one repair, you would need to wait a year to be able to claim for the other leg.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but I think in your scenario where the leg is healed at the time of joining, the leg is fully healed, we wouldn't consider it to be pre-existing.
Okay, so there's no, it won't be like something like that. It won't have a waiting period. It's just a question. It's not healed using joining the policy. I'll put a delay.
I just lost you there, Retha.
There you go.
Okay. There, I'm back. Oh my word.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
You just want to repeat that last bit, Retha?
So there's no waiting period in terms of there was something, we've got a 12-month waiting period before it will cover it in terms of that scenario. It is
So we do have waiting periods for certain congenital and hereditary conditions, of which we do consider a cruciate that's not linked to an acute injury. So things like your IVDD in your Dachshunds, your hip dysplasia in your large breed dogs, your brachycephalic conditions in your flat-faced breeds, those type of breed-specific conditions, we have a 12-month or 1 year waiting period before we would pay towards those kind of corrective surgeries. And we do find cruciates do have sometimes a hereditary element or a congenital element to them. But if it's clearly an accidental injury, like you witness your pet falling or tripping while running or whatever and yelping and then limping straight away, you know, that you clearly saw it was an accidental injury, then that's something that we would cover without the waiting period.
okay, cool. That is great. It's actually very good to know, because I don't think people understands the waiting period and the pre-existing conditions. So I think this is a very clear explanation that that you've given. Thank you.
Yeah, that's always one of the questions is the pre-existing, and then the other question that often pops up in, I think you mentioned, well, you just mentioned it, is like breed-specific conditions as well. And you know, is there with higher risk breeds for certain conditions, do you load the policy, or how does that work? And then obviously you said that there's a waiting period.
Yeah, so we don't load any specific breeds based on what might happen in future. Ideally, we would want people to sign up their puppies and their kittens as young as possible while the pet is still healthy and while we don't have any signs of any issues that might come up later. So a nice young little Dachshund puppy whose back is still nice and strong, sign him up now while he's healthy, and then know down the line in future as he gets older, if he has a back issue, it will then be covered. Then yeah, so we don't exclude any breeds. We don't have any breed specific loadings. The premium will be determined based on the main factor that affects the premium is the pet's age, because obviously as they get older, they do become a higher risk, you know, more chance of getting sick. A dog is a little bit more expensive than a cat to insure. We find cats are generally a better risk. They don't get into trouble as much as dogs do. So a dog will be a bit more expensive, and then a larger dog will be a bit more expensive than a smaller dog. So I think just in the sense that a larger dog will incur a bigger vet bill because they use up more. Yes, these are the factors that will affect the premium. So regardless of the breed, they would all have that 1 year waiting period. Obviously, not all conditions would affect all breeds. So, I mean, your brachycephalic flat face issues are only relevant to flat-faced dogs, but that 1 year waiting period is just standard on all policies.
And then all of this is very clearly outlined in your policy description. So if you read,
absolutely,
policyholder can read all of that information beforehand. Yeah.
Yes. So if somebody is interested in our insurance, they can visit our website. It's www.firstforwomen.co.za. Click on the pet insurance tab. You'll find the T's and C's you can download and read through without being a member. There's a lot of FAQs there as well. There's a button you can click to call back if you'd like someone to call you to speak to you about the policy, and you can sign up online as well there. But all of the policy information is readily available, and we'll happily answer questions. Our sales agents are very skilled in the product. They'll happily answer any questions a person might have during their sales call to address any of these concerns that someone might have.
Cool. All right. Now that brings us to the next one. And we, our rescue community is very dear to our hearts, and it's a big community. So we've just adopted Rassie. He's 6.5-year-old Rhodesian Ridgeback. So how will we go about getting him onto pet insurance? Is there some way that maybe we can take him for a vet clearance? Just talk me through that, how we can get Rassie at 6.5 years old with no history.
Sure. So we very much support rescuing pets, and we make donations to various rescue organizations, and we can't expect you to know what you don't know. So Rassie, we will ask for his history for as far back as you're aware of it. So from the time that you adopted him. If you adopted him with knowing of certain conditions, obviously let us be aware of that. But if you only got him this week and you've never once been to the vet, we obviously wouldn't expect you to then provide a veterinary history. We generally ask for, if it's not also, if you've adopted a very young puppy or kitten that's, just maybe had vaccinations and that's it. We obviously only need the history since you've had the pet. We wouldn't, there's no discrimination against a pet without a history. You don't have to go and get a health check at the vet. It's not necessary. We would assume that when you adopt from whatever rescue organization, that the pet, they would be aware if there was anything wrong with the pet and they would have let you know. But you don't need to do anything additional for a rescue versus a pet that you get from a breeder or anyone else.
Okay. Because sometimes, in this instance, it was a private rescue. So we have contact with the previous owners and we have access to his previous vets. So that would obviously be helpful for you guys to have access to that information.
Definitely, yeah.
But if it's not available, it's not going to count against Rassie.
Not at all. Not at all.
You've mentioned the word breeders, and I think this is something that I very often find is that breeders do not have pet insurance. And I'm now not talking about backyard breeders. I'm talking about the ethical breeders. What is your take on people that is breeding responsibly? Will that be somebody that is eligible for breeding for insurance?
So people, we are supportive of breeders who are doing it the right way. I think regarding insurance for breeders, the type of insurance that they're looking for is not actually your traditional pet insurance. It's more of a business insurance. So because breeding is their business and their income, and because those pets, initially in the beginning of life would belong to them, but would ultimately be rehomed to other people, we don't insure them in the same way that we insure a pet that belongs to you. So we do offer, within our Telesure and First Woman world, we do offer business insurance. So if there are any breeders that are interested, they're welcome to contact us, and we can look at solutions for them as well in terms of insuring their breeding as a business. We also only insure pets over 8 weeks of age. So that's normally about the time that they would be giving the pet to their new owner. So then it would be for the owner to take out that insurance. We would really, really like it if all breeders could strongly, strongly recommend to all pets that are homed that the owner does take out insurance as young as possible while the pet is healthy. That's the ideal time to take it out. You'll pay a nice low premium because the pet is young and there are no health concerns.
Okay. And your breeding, let's call your breeding bitches, and your breed. So you've got a breeding bitch, and now you've got a litter, and something goes wrong, and the bitch there's complications. It's an emergency C-section in the middle of the night, and it costs a fortune. Will that be covered as part of a breeder's cover?
So that wouldn't, we don't cover breeding on our normal pet insurance product. But should the breeder take out cover for their breeding business, it would be covered under there. So one of our exclusions is working pets. So we don't mean working pets in terms of like agility pets, but dogs that are in a bit more high risk situation. So like a security dog, bomb disposal dogs, those type of dogs that are doing a job, so to speak. And we kind of put breeding under there as well, because breeding would be a form of a business, a form of income. So we don't cover breeding. It is also quite a big additional risk that we haven't factored into how we price our products. So that is something that we don't cover. But like I said just now, should a breeder be interested in insuring their business, they're welcome to reach out. First Woman can offer business insurance solutions as well.
Okay, that is great. I think that's a very important thing to know. And so, I mean, I've got a lot of ethical breeders that feeds their dogs Pawsome Raw and is part of a different scenario and that is of the challenges, because that can be a really, really, really huge cost when you ended up with emergency C-sections and so on.
Sure.
So yeah, that's a great thing to do. And I think we must just, Antonette, I think after on the link, we must just give us a link where they can contact and chat to you guys about that.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
this brings us to another little section that is very dear to and close to my heart, and something that I feel very strong about. But before we go to the holistic side of pet insurance and pet parenting, I think we've got some great big news to share with our audience tonight, and I'd like for you to tell them what the news is.
Sure, absolutely. So First Woman Pet Insurance is very proud to be coming on board as a main sponsor for the African Pet Health Summit later this year in Cape Town. We're really happy about the partnership. I think the brand aligns very well with the whole holistic pet care, and we're very excited to be part of the event.
I can tell you, we are just as excited to have you as a partner, and I'm really looking forward to a long partnership and a win-win for everybody. So, and that brings me to a question that I think most of our viewers and most of the people that we are connected with is quite, it is something that there is a little bit of a lack in the industry there. So how does lifestyle choice of the owner affect the insurance? For example, if a pet parent feeds a species appropriate raw diet and follows a minimal vaccination protocol using titers instead of annual boosters, and make sure they do the best for the pet for long health and longevity, does this impact their eligibility or standing with insurance?
Absolutely not. We really encourage people to take the best care of their pets. We really encourage people to be guided by recommendations of vets and other veterinary professionals. So if it's recommended that you follow a raw diet or you do minimal vaccinations, we fully supportive of that. It wouldn't affect your cover in any way. We really just encourage responsible pet ownership, whatever that looks like for you. So we've got wellness benefits that would pay towards vaccinations, but it's not at all a prerequisite that your pet has to be vaccinated in order to qualify for cover. The only thing to note is that if you have not vaccinated and you get a vaccinatable illness, it wouldn't be covered. So as an example, you consciously don't vaccinate, you get parvovirus, that would then not be covered.
So I just want to make clear, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I think cautiously vaccination and over-vaccination has got a huge, big health impact on our pets. So for me, it is important, will you cover the cost of it, instead of a vaccination, will you cover the cost of a titer test, for instance?
So within the limits of that benefit, yeah.
That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Wow. Because I really don't think, I have not found, and I might be wrong, but I have not found another insurer that will do that and that actually promotes and will say, we are happy for you to use titers. And for that reason, I mean, that is a great thing for our listeners to really take into consideration. That is, I mean, I can just say from my personal experience, and yes, I am biased, and I have got certain pre-existing things, but I've got a huge big pack of dogs that has been all raw fed from either puppy or at least within the first year. My pack is now 12 years old. Okay, and if I look at their health, I mean, we had vet visits with injuries, like a dog running. We've had one where a dog ran into the other one, and we had an immediate neck issue that had to have an operation. I've had cruciate ligaments, and that was accidental. It wasn't because it's a breed thing, but it was an accidental crazy dog jumping off things and hurt herself. And bite wounds. That is in the 12 years the biggest thing that took us to the vet until they get to the age of 11, 12, and then things happens that comes with old age. But 12 for beagles is already a good age. I mean, I had somebody walking into the shop the other day say they've got a very old beagle. She's really very old for a beagle. And I said, oh, how old? Expecting 16 or 17. And she said it was 9 years old. And I thought, 9 is
that's not very old.
not at all anyway. But it really is. It's good to know that you guys support that, and you've opened a can of worms, because I'm going to tell all the vets. It is a problem that the clients don't want to do it because it's not covered. So it is really in terms of holistic coverage and things like that, if you go to a holistic integrator vet that does acupuncture and a more holistic way, I gather that you also will support that and look at those those bills if it's submitted.
Yes, absolutely. So it's a new benefit that we launched, I think in 2023, called post-surgery care. So it's any type of holistic treatment from physio, hydrotherapy, acupuncture, chiropractor, laser treatment, anything that's recommended by the vet as part of rehab for some kind of surgical procedure, and obviously administered by a vet or a veterinary physio or a qualified person. So yeah, we do offer a benefit for that. We fully support those type of alternate aiding in the healing.
Only post-surgery, what as part of a preventive measure?
So only post-surgery, again, because of the nature of the insurance product. So it's for your unforeseen bill. If you're looking at something that you're doing for maintenance or for preventative care, it's not unforeseen. So that's something that as a pet owner, you could budget for, you would know about, you could factor into your monthly costs of having a pet. So again, insurance steps in for unforeseen stuff. So you do a cruciate surgery, for example, and you need physio afterwards. That's where we would step in and assist with those type of treatments.
So I've had a beagle that tore her cruciate ligament. Okay, and because of her age, we didn't want, and because of a lot of other things with her, I was skeptic. We were cautious to have her operated on, and she then went for physio and some acupuncture, and that we were told that she's going to need a brace because the cruciate it was an accident, and we actually didn't do the op, which saved lots of money. We fixed her over a 3-month period with laser, acupuncture, and physio. So if there is that something that you might look at, if there is an incident like this dog under normal circumstances would have needed cruciate, but we are saving on the cruciate operation, and now she can, but we are fixing and give conservative care to fix the problem.
Yeah, I think in that kind of instance, we would look at paying that claim because, like you said, it is linked to a specific injury and it's an alternate to surgery. So I think, yeah, in that case, we would look at that claim.
Okay, because it's way cheaper and much better for the dog anyway.
Definitely.
So that means you are looking at cases. Also, there is the black and white and the rules and the policy requirements. But if there's always a little bit of a tweak and a twist on the other side? Is there somebody on the other side of the policy claim department that you can present a case to in order to say, this is what's happened? It's not a clear cut no. Yes, there's a little bit of a gray area.
Absolutely, yeah. So yes, we do have our T's and C's, we do have our rules, but we are always open to hearing a vet's motivation as to why we should consider a certain treatment. It's discussed often between many people with experience as to should we or shouldn't we pay this claim based on all the facts. So yeah, there are the T's and C's, which is our Bible that we follow, but at the same time, we are open to looking at cases on an individual level where they're not a simple, easy yes or no type of an answer.
Okay, that's good to know, because I mean, then you've got at least a person on the other side to talk to, or that will evaluate a case, and not just a paper electronic no, yes scenario, no, not going to pay type of scenario. I think for me, that is always good to know you are dealing with a company that is open for communication.
Yeah.
Honestly.
We are all real people behind the scenes. We are all real people.
But we're all real people.
Yeah, and mostly pet owners, animal lovers. So whatever situation you come to us with, we've probably had ourselves and can fully understand the stress that you're going through in the moment. Yeah, so always don't ever be, as a client, don't ever be scared to reach out if you feel like you've got more information that might change our decision. And if you can ask your vet to motivate for a certain kind of treatment plan or whatever the case may be, we'll always consider them. We'll always have a look. We're not going to just say no, and not even enter into any sort of discussion.
That's good to know. Aynsley, one thing that always comes up, Retha, I think you'll agree, is sublimits. What does sublimits? What does it mean? Okay. Do you have it?
So sublimits are things that people use behind the scenes to limit what you can claim. And I'm not going to mention anybody else. I'm going to mention First Foreman and what we do. So we have got within our policies, we've got different benefit categories. So we've got a benefit for wellness, which is your preventative care, like your vaccinations, deworming, tick and flea, the sort of maintenance of your pet. We've got vet visits. So you just a minor illness, minor injury that's just dealt with in the consult room. Our big main benefit is our surgery and hospital. We've got a benefit then for the post-surgery care, the holistic treatments. We've got a benefit for third-party liability, should your pet maybe damage or bite another pet. And then we've got a benefit for when your pet passes away, euthanasia and cremation. So within those benefit categories, we've got limits per year. And of those limits, if you need to claim 35,000 Rand for surgery, you can get that full 35,000 Rand, less your excess. But we're not going to say, oh, you can have only 5,000 Rand for medicine and 2,000 Rand for x-rays, and whatever the vet bill is, up to our limit, we will pay that out to you. So the sub-limits, in my mind, you might see our sort of benefit categories as sub-limits, but in my mind, the numbers we advertise to you as to what is available is what you can get for those particular claim types.
Okay, that is also good to know, because I mean, and that's one of the things that I pick up on social media quite a lot, where people say, I've got my dog and now they only pay a certain amount and it's less than 5% of the total amount because it was a sub-limit. So I want to ask about multiple pet households, because this is something, and something that we spoke about earlier that comes up as well. If you've got like I've got many dogs, so now we've got 8 now. When we started up our policy, we had 12 dogs on the policy. Okay, and obviously you've got 12 dogs. Luckily, I've been on pet insurance for a long time. And they're getting old now. Now, all of a sudden, I won't just have one dog. getting an issue that needs insurance. It might happen that I've got 3 dogs. It happened to me in October last year. I had 2 dogs at the same time that went to ICU and was in hospital for quite a long time, and the bill was astronomical. Okay. I always say is if you've got one pet and you have got one claim in his lifetime, that doesn't affect your policy so much, especially if you've paid 8 years for it and now only you get it. But now if you all of a sudden get 4 claims in a year, how do you treat it from an underwriting point of view? Is this now, because it's an insurance product. So if the more you claim, the more higher risk you become. So sorry for that, guys. I've been told that I need to come and sit in front of the computer. So she's very adamant sometimes. And I'm not getting up to give her satisfaction now, because then she'll do it again and again. If you claim, I say to a lot of clients when I give them advice, is don't claim for the small little nitty-gritty. Yes, your policy allow for you it to claim for vet visits and things like that. But if save your policy, save your claim for that unforeseen things, especially as they get older, because then the cost gets high and big, and it can load and it can put you at a higher risk. So from a multiple pet owner policy that's got 10 dogs on one policy, and I've got the unforeseen thing of 4 dogs getting ill, they each got the individual claim amount and coverage, but now 4 dogs getting ill. Are you going to send the client a letter and say, sorry, but now you cannot be a client with us anymore? Or how do you treat that? Do you treat it individually, the dog, or do you treat it as a whole in a policy? Because that's something that I see a lot.
Yes. So first of all, we do offer discounts if you've got multiple dogs. So the more dogs you insure, the cheaper it gets for each additional dog that you insure. That's first point. In terms of the underwriting and how we price our premiums and that, we do look at each pet individually. So obviously each pet, you pay a premium per pet and you get limits per pet. So you might have one pet that exhausts their limits in a year, but you've got 7 other pets that don't claim. So you then, as one policyholder, one owner, your well pets sort of balance out your sick pets. When we look at our annual premium reviews, we generally just look at inflation and increasing costs of veterinary care. So we generally would increase premiums. Everyone just gets a small increase. We haven't yet. We don't individually sort of increase you ad hoc as you claim. I think some pet insurance products might individually increase one client if they claim high in a short period of time, whereas we look at everybody as a group. Annually, we might just do like a small percentage increase in line with inflation. We're not going to penalize you as an individual client. And again, like I said, because you've got multiple pets, the healthy ones balance out the good. The healthy ones balance out the unhealthy ones. The whole sort of principle of insurance is that the premiums of many pay for the claims of a few. So your premiums of your other dogs will cover the claims of your unwell dogs.
It sounds so easy when you explain it, but in the real world, and what I've experienced in the last 8 months, is that it actually doesn't happen like that, because I've had 2 dogs. We had meningitis with the one, and the other one ended up having because I couldn't figure out what's wrong with her, and eventually found out she's got some digestive cancer type of cells, and the cost was, both dogs were tremendously sick. And then we got the nice letter saying that they're reducing our cover for all our pets, not just for those 2 pets, but for all our pets. So, and for me, that is and the problem is now my dogs are 11 and 12. Now I can't go to another insurer and say, I'm going to change. I'm stuck. I need to. So I've paid for 9 years. They were 2 when we put them on. I paid for 9 years, had literally had 4 claims over 9 years, but I had 2 big claims within the same month. I mean, they both were lying in ICU. We had to be at the same place. And that is one of those things that a lot of people, that makes them think, oh, no. And that's also why people say, oh, my dog's has been healthy. They're 9 years old, they're healthy. I've paid for pet insurance and I never use it. And I try to always say to people, do not cancel it. You need it more when you're older. And that's why you've been on it for the 9 years of their life, to make provision for when they are older, when they become 10, and stuff like that. And we've actually had a question here is, what is your policy on pets going over 10 years and monthly premium increases? So if they've been there from 2 or from as a puppy and they're now 10, how do you address that?
So the cover doesn't change as the pet ages. We wouldn't limit the cover. Obviously, if you've been on for the pet's entire life, the premiums would increase a little bit every year, just like I said, in line with inflation. We're not going to whack you with like a big loading when your pet turns a certain age. So, we acknowledge that a loyal customer who's been paying for this pet their whole life, who's maybe never claimed for 8 years and now has a massive claim because their pet has got cancer or something like that, we're not going to penalize them. That's exactly why we take our pet insurance. That's the point of pet insurance. You ideally, again, if we make a comparison to motor car insurance, you hope you'll never claim on car insurance, but you know that if your car is stolen or fully written off, you're going to get the full amount back. So obviously pets, it's a little bit different as they're living things, but if you don't claim their whole life and then suddenly need all of that money when they get old, that's the whole point of pet insurance. That's what we're here to assist with. So yeah, the cover doesn't change at all once the pet passes a certain age, and the premiums will only increase based on just annual inflationary increases.
Okay.
That's actually
If
good
you
to differentiate.
Yeah, if you do, like I mentioned earlier around the premiums and how we calculate them, if you sign up a pet that is already old, you will get a higher premium because they are high risk and because we don't have all of your premium contributions for the 8 years leading up to where we are now. So then you potentially will sign up a dog and they will be sick straight away. So that's why if you sign up a dog when they're already older, your premium will be a bit higher than if you sign them up as a young and healthy puppy or kitten.
And then what is your, I adopt a dog and the dog, we actually don't know what age the dog is. And it turns out that after adoption, the vet says this dog is 9 years old. Have you got a cut-off age that you don't take them on anymore? I mean, we understand it's going to be a higher peer premium, but have you got a cut-off age?
So yeah, for the comprehensive plans, for a large breed dog, the maximum age is 9 years. For a medium breed, it's 10 years. And for a small breed dog or a cat, it's 11 years. If your pet is already older than that, we can only offer them the accident cover. So it's a very limited cover, but unfortunately for the risk that your pet presents at that much older age, that's what we can afford to offer.
So here's another question. Emergency claims is a lot of times also very difficult to prove. A lot of times claims are declined as according to the fund, it is not an emergency. What do you see as an emergency? Because that is a very good question that's been asked.
So we don't really define emergency in our cover. What we define is this something that can be treated in the consult room? Is it a day visit to the vet, or is it hospitalization? So obviously, dependent on the severity of what is wrong with the pet, the vet will elect to either treat it then and there or hospitalize and perform a surgery or whatever other procedures required. When we speak about accidents, injuries that are a result of an accident, so we're talking about cuts, we're talking about broken bones, we're talking about poisoning, stung by a bee, anything that's like an unforeseen event that causes an injury. those we do need the person to visit the vet within 48 hours to deem it an accident. So the reason for this is because if you don't deal with it immediately, it's going to get worse. So for an example, a small cut can then become infected, can cause an abscess, is then a much bigger vet bill than just a quick little stitch up of a small cut. So I don't think we've never said that a claim is not an emergency. In fact, I think we haven't, I don't know if we've ever disputed that 48-hour limit either. But essentially, we'll take the vet's guidance in terms of what is the treatment protocol required for whatever issue.
A dog that eats a piece of cloth and then causes an obstruction, under what will that be classified?
So that's a gray area, because you might not realize for 48 hours, you might not realize that the cloth is blocking them up for a while. So yeah, that, I mean, we can look at that was an unforeseen event that caused the issue. So I think also we can be cognizant of how quickly the person responded. I think it's a challenge that vets also have, where by the time the person gets to the vet, the dog hasn't been eating already for like a week, and whatever was wrong is now a lot worse. So I think a general advice to pet owners, regardless of insurance, is act early if you notice anything wrong with your pet. And I think that will then mitigate those kind of circumstances where something has really got a lot worse because a lot of time has passed and it hasn't been treated quickly.
Yeah, I do think in today's, I mean, that's something that you can maybe, from your experience, I think pet parents are much more aware, especially after COVID and lockdown. Pet parents are much more aware of their pets' needs than a few years ago. So they're more sort of more in tune about there's something wrong. And when it is serious and when it is not that serious. So
yeah, definitely.
Aynsley, sorry, just a quick question. Sorry, Retha, just a quick question on your payments. So when I go to the vet, whether it's an emergency or whatever, who pays? Do I pay, then put in a claim? Do you pay the vet directly? How does that work with you guys?
So there's a slightly different process for day-to-day claims versus hospital claims. So for day-to-day claims that are, smaller amounts, those ones you would need to pay the vet and then claim reimbursement from us. Those claims, quick and simple, if you submit all of the documentation, if we've got enough information to process the claim immediately, you can get your money back within a couple of days. For hospital claims, the process is a little bit different. So if it's like a planned surgery that you're going in for, ideally the vet can contact our claims team to get pre-authorization for the surgery. We'll then confirm that the client has got cover in place and whatever procedure is covered under their policy, checking things like, their premiums are up to date. Sometimes people don't pay their premiums and then they try and claim, and then we unfortunately can't pay the claim. But the pre-authorization step gives the person peace of mind that they're going to be covered, what limits are still available to them within that policy year, so they'll know that they're covered up to however much amount of money. And then in the case where the client doesn't have the funds available to pay first, they can make an arrangement that we settle the claim directly with the vet, and then they would just need to cover the shortfall, whatever we're not paying, the excess amount. Maybe the claim is 50,000, but their cover limit is 30. So they would then need to just pay the difference. But in those cases of the big amounts of money, we can make a plan to pay directly with the vet. They just need to request it. Certain vets don't want that arrangement. They prefer not to be paid by insurers for whatever reasons. So it's always important that the client checks that the vet is all right with that arrangement.
Okay. And I've got another case. Oh, gee, I've got way too many case studies. That's the thing. You've got so many dogs. I've got a dog that currently she's got lung cancer, but it's in the beginning of it. So she was diagnosed in December, and I had to take her in yesterday. So she was hospitalized again to do tests, to do the sonar, the x-rays, and full bloods and things like that, to see if she's getting worse or if we are winning with treatment, etc., etc. Under what will that fall? Will that fall under illness, or will it be, because I know some insurance companies will say we do not diagnostic.
Yeah, this is a very contentious issue in the insurance industry. The way that we would handle a claim like this, because your pet was hospitalized and I'm sure sedated for those tests, it's a procedure. It's an in-hospital procedure. It's a surgery or it's a hospital claim. So I had this guy here. One day he just decided that his back legs didn't work anymore, so he couldn't walk out of the blue. Rushed him to the vet, and they initially thought maybe he'd had a stroke. So they did ultrasounds, and they had really no clue what was wrong with him. And so they had to do an MRI. So obviously the MRI, he needs to be admitted, he needs to be sedated. It's a whole big story. And because he was admitted to hospital for that specific diagnostic test, it was covered as a hospital claim. In the end, he didn't need surgery. So despite the fact that no surgery, there wasn't a literal cut into him, it was another procedure, but he was under sedation, and that would be considered a hospital claim.
That is actually very good, because I mean that is also a lot of companies turn around and say no, that's diagnostic. We don't take diagnostic stuff. So that's really. It's a pity my dogs are so old and that I can't move.
It is.
It's a big pity. But anyway,
you'll just have to get some new puppies.
Not now, later. Enjoy. It will be so unfair in my household if I have more puppies now, because I've got to enjoy their golden years. I mean, they're old now. They give me a lifetime of puppy, and I just think it is just fair to have the last few years with my oldies and enjoy everything. And
enjoy that little bit more peace and quiet that you get with an older pet than a new young one.
I think it is very important to embrace the last few years, and I hope I'm going to have lots of them still. We unfortunately had to say, actually, on our first episode, the day we started our first episode, I lost my Irish Wolfhound, and I sat in this first session, and I was so emotional, and I just had to concentrate and not into tears. And that makes you realize how important it is to spend time with your senior pets and enjoy the little time that you've got left. And I hope we've still got lots of years, but I mean, you've got to be realistic as well. That older and things happens now, and old age get to them. So that I'm not sure if we've covered this topic, but I've had something written down here about senior pets and their golden years. Most people only think about insurance when their puppies are young and what's going to happen but what happens about the age of 8 and 10, people don't think about it, and that is one of those things that I found is, I don't need pet insurance, I've cancelled it, type of thing. But we've answered that. Premiums don't change, and this is the thing that I wanted to ask. Is there a way that, because your pet are going to get older, so my dogs are older, we're getting some arthritis a little bit. I've got one beagle that thought he was acrobat and jumped like above us for a bull, and we thought it was so cute and nice, and look how agile he is, and little did we know how we're going to hurt his back and how difficult it's going to be when he's 12 and 13 years old, where he is now at. Do you offer anything, or maybe if you don't, please start thinking about it, something where you can have additional cover for older dogs, in terms of that you can, like sort of a medical savings plan for when they get insurance, when they get to that age, and now you're going to have arthritis care, and you're going to need more supplements, and you're going to need more things to it's stuff that you cannot prevent, so those costs, and for geriatric care. Is it something that you do?
So we don't have like a savings plan, but if your pet is comprehensively insured and they get older, all of those limits are available for whatever old age type of conditions they might develop. So, you've got your day-to-day for your vet checkups and your medication. You've got your surgery and hospital benefit if they do need some kind of a surgery or to be hospitalized for whatever procedure. So the full, provided your pet was insured when it qualified, when it was at a slightly younger age, that comprehensive cover lasts for their whole life. So all of those benefits will be available to them.
Last technical question. I told you you're going to get it from me. So my pet is sick. He gets my policy year runs from January to December and renew in January. And my pet is sick and it is November, December. He's got a huge bill. Use my full amount. Okay. My full cover. Now we get this and is fine for a little while, but it is something that's now sort of becoming a chronic thing. And in March, I've got claims again that is big. Is there something, because I've got this, that you cannot have the same, if you've had a big claim and a certain condition, there's got to be 6 months of no treatment before you can claim in the next policy year again.
That's another hidden sublimit. No, there's no limit on. Yes, yeah. No, there's no limit of how many times you can claim for one particular condition. So if your pet keeps on having the same reoccurring or chronic condition that they need treatment for, we're not going to limit how many times you can claim for that particular treatment.
And if you're in the new year, you've got a new
full new set of benefits kick in the new year, on the anniversary of when you took out your policy.
Okay, that is really great. I can tell everybody, guys, you definitely need to look, if your pets are not geriatric like mine, you definitely need to look at First for Women pet insurance. I think the cover terms and conditions are definitely some of the best out there in the market. Antonette, have you not got some more questions from your side?
From me, I'm just behavior. Do you cover anything around behavior? Because that's also becoming a wellness issue now, or it's classed as a wellness issue. So do we have something there for behavior issues if a dog suddenly gets very anxious or there's chronic anxiety?
So this is something
covered?
Yeah, I was actually going to add on to what Retha was saying, is that our policies are constantly evolving along with the needs of pets, along with the advances in veterinary care. So as we see, like with our holistic physio benefit, we identified that this was something that people needed, so we added it to our policy. So behavior is something that is on the radar. It's currently excluded, but it's on the radar to add a benefit for this, because I think there's so much focus on people's mental health, there's so much awareness, and definitely that spreads over to animals. I think especially in COVID, we saw also a lot of animals having anxiety, having almost like a social anxiety, because they'd been raised and adopted into a household with no one other than just their owner, and then going out to a public space or having people visit the house, the pets were panicking with anxiety. So I definitely think it's something that we're looking at adding into our policy, probably with our next benefit review. And I think definitely whatever medication might be required for to treat anxiety. I'm not too sure yet about like behaviorist practitioners, but it's something that we are looking at.
Cool. Okay.
Sorry, there's another question.
Aynsley. I saw that.
There's another question.
I saw that one from Sonia.
Yeah. Existing illnesses. Sonia, we did cover it in the beginning, but we'll send you just, unless Aynsley just want to quickly again just touch base on pre-existing, what is seen as pre-existing issues, and how like if you've got hotspots once or twice, is that seen as an issue in a pre-existing condition?
No.
Maybe just give a little bit more clarity about that.
Sure. So with pre-existing, the question is really that at the time of joining insurance, is your pet currently undergoing treatment? So if it's an injury, is the pet currently undergoing treatment for that particular injury? If it's an illness, is the pet receiving ongoing treatment for that illness? If the answer is yes to those two, then it would be excluded. If the answer is no, then it wouldn't be. So if my pet broke its leg last year, it's fully healed, not an exclusion. If my pet one time had a hot spot or diarrhea, but it's no longer receiving treatment, then it's not pre-existing and it wouldn't be excluded.
Perfect. I want to ask you, give us 3 things every new pet parent should know about insurance before they sign on the dotted line.
Okay. So do read the fine print. We as insurers are trying so hard to change the public's perception of us just being horrible money grabbing people who don't want to pay your claims. We've really put a lot of effort into writing our T's and C's in plain and simple language. So do please read our T's and C's and do reach out if you want to clarify anything before you sign up. Secondly, know your rights as a pet owner. So every interaction we have with you on the phone will be recorded. Every email we will keep track of. So if you feel that you have in some way been given misinformation or misinformed, do reach out and let us help resolve it. Don't run to Hello Peter. Don't run to social media. Rather come to us and let's try and resolve it. We do really respect you as people, and we hope that you respect us as people, and we always will try and help you as much as possible. So do please reach out if you have a concern, if you feel that something was done unfairly, please do come to us first and try to resolve it before you make a big public fuss of it. And then lastly, I did write this down. Lastly was be honest. So if your pet does have a pre-existing condition, please do let us know. Please don't try and fraud us. We will call the vet and we will ask for a vet history and we will find out if you did try to hide something from us. So again, it's a relationship based on trust. We're offering you all this money to assist your pet in your time of stress. So please let the trust go both ways. We trust that you will take good care of your pet and you won't neglect it or, be negligent, allow it to run out in the road and whatever. So yeah, just let the trust go both ways. Be honest with us. A small disclosure when you're signing up will save the stress of us now having to report you to our fraud department later on and cancel you and potentially not allow your pet to get cover with any other pet insurers in the industry, because we do talk to each other.
And
so
it's
yeah,
not
just
pet insurance that you affect by that. I mean, your other insurance in terms of short-term insurance,
yes,
if you flag with that, I mean, that can affect your household insurance. That can affect a lot of things. It's quite risky if it catches up. So be
definitely, yeah.
I don't think people always do it intentionally, but sometimes I think wasn't something important which could have been important. So rather tell you guys too much than too little type of scenario.
Definitely.
But
And even when
you touched on, Aynsley, is about the honesty and about the relationship. And I think this is why talks like these are so important, because now they get to meet one of the people that they're going to deal with, and you see that you are just a person just like they are. And I think it's so important that we're not just a number. We're not we're a person, and especially when it comes to our pets, there's a lot of emotion there. And and then you really want to know that the person that has got your back when things go wrong. And I think that's why we have these talks as well, Retha, is to show the humanity rather than just ticking a box and it's a policy and policy overrides everything.
It's important. I mean, that's part of this, why we do this. Because we want to educate.
Yeah. And I think our one of our biggest challenges in growing our product is a lack of knowledge or understanding of what the product actually is. And it's hard to sell something to someone if they don't really know what it is and what they're buying and what the value is to them. So I think a lot of people, make incorrect assumptions around pet insurance, like, oh, it's insuring the 30,000 Rand that you paid for a pedigree pet. It's not at all what it's about. Whether your pet cost you 30,000 Rand or you saved it from the side of the road, it makes no difference to the cover you're going to receive. There's no greater reason to insure one pet over the other. All pets are equal in our eyes. So yeah, we just really, the more people know and understand about it, the better for all of us.
So if you can bust one myth, Aynsley, if you can wave your magic wand and bust one myth about pet insurance, what would that be?
So we did a little bit touch on it earlier, but a lot of people say, I'd rather just self-insure. So you can do that. Definitely, like I said, keep a savings for in case. But the return that you're going to get from a pet insurance policy is far more than what you could save yourself. Even if you massively invested the money, I mean, like I said, you can pay 300 Rand a month, you can get 50,000 Rand cover in a year, should you need it. So I think don't write off pet insurance and think that you could kind of have the same value by just saving the money yourself.
Because there is quite a resistance to pet insurance. I mean, I think the take-up is very low.
It is.
Yeah. And
I think it's a lot to do with
misunderstanding. Yeah. What do you think?
I think it's a lot about misunderstanding or missing the value. But also realistically in South Africa it is about affordability. So we understand that our country is the spread of wealth is shared amongst very few out of the masses. So we do understand that it's not a product that everyone can afford. We do try to create a range of bands of cover that there would be something that is a bit more affordable versus something that's a premium product for people who, money's not an issue for. And we're also looking at other types of products that we can launch to assist people, very low income people who, you see sometimes a kid on the side of the road with a little dog that probably gets the food before he does. So, we're also looking at how can we assist those pet lovers, because we don't want to be a product that's just for more wealthier people. So we're really passionate about helping all pet owners as much as we can.
Okay. My last question. It's first for women. So is it only women that's insured?
Is it only women that are insured?
Is it only women pet dog moms? Can only dog moms buy pet insurance?
No, please, dog dads are welcome. Dog dads are welcome.
Well.
It's for women, but it's not only for women.
Cool.
So please, dog dads, you will. Yeah, there's no discrimination at all. If you don't mind the color pink, we are for you.
You're a real man when you can rock pink.
Yes,
I know.
Yes.
Rusty looks beautiful in his pink harness.
I'm sure everyone thinks he's a girl.
Oh. Anyways, Aynsley, I think we've lost Retha again. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much. You have cleared up a lot for me around pet insurance. And I just want to say thank you very much for the clarity, for the honesty, for, just being there and being such a great person. And I'm so looking forward to the Africa Pet Health Summit in September and seeing you again. It's going to be such a great event.
Oh, thank you so much, Antonette. It's such a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me here. It's really, really great to have this platform to speak about something that I'm so passionate about. So yeah, thank you so much for having me on. And I'm also really looking forward to the Pet Health Summit. I think it's going to be really great.
Yeah, it's be good. So I'll download this live session. I'll post it onto YouTube tomorrow. You can WhatsApp me all your links and everything, and I'll make sure that I include that in the description as well, so that people can click through and get in touch with you guys. And yeah, then I see you in September.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Thank you so much, Aynsley.
Cool. Thank you
Have a
too.
lovely evening. Bye.
You
Bye.
too. Bye-bye.
Cool. In stream.